All right, everybody, welcome into this week's episode of the DNVR Rapids podcast, presented by the homies at Ivaca TV. I'm your host, Mitchell Carroll, aka Merchel. You know me from the DNVR Rapids podcast, and I am joined by the superest of super producers, Mr. Yahir Vazquez, super producer. How you doing,
What
buddy?
up? How you guys doing today?
Yo, chilling, man. Folding t-shirts and reading about the Rapids. That's my life, baby.
How did we get so lucky?
It's a strange life I lead, but I'm pretty stoked about it.
How did we get so lucky?
you know, I don't know. I just kind of just vibe with it and be thankful. We got a nice show for you guys lined up today. We're going to be talking about just kind of the week in Rapids news. There's quite a few little tidbits here and there that'd be fun to touch on and kind of just catch up with what's going on with the players and the team. And then we're going to look around the West and kind of see what's going on there. And then we're going to wrap up with looking ahead to Nashville this weekend on Saturday before the international break. So pretty packed show. Obviously, jump in the comments. Let us know what you're thinking about the team, about what we're talking about whatever. If you just have a random question that you've been thinking about all week since the win last weekend. And, it should be a fun little show before the weekend. So first thing on that list, I think we should probably talk about is Mr. Jack Price, the captain, comes back. First full game since he came back from injury, and he's on the MLS Team of the Week.
Yeah, man, that's what you expect from Jack Price whenever he plays. He is a Team of the Week capable every single week. That's how good he is. Really glad to see that the hamstring wasn't lingering and that it wasn't bothering him all game. Makes me excited for what's to come, especially with Sardis maybe coming in, which was kind of teased a little bit during the broadcast and last game that he is possible to come in here pretty soon.
Yeah. So, I mean, away from the injury bug, it's like Jack Price just has like the quietest games where he dominates. Right?
Like his set pieces are super elite. You see it and you're just like, yep, this could be a goal at any moment, either from a header or a shot.
Right, and he didn't have an assist on a set piece. He had a few that were potential for sure, but he just was clean with possession, was efficient with his passes, and on his way to one of the best midfield games that anyone had over the weekend. It's pretty cool to see.
One of the best midfield games.
Yeah,
anybody had this weekend because he did win Team of the Week.
Yeah, period. I mean, yeah, arguably the best. It was cool. His parents flew in from England, got to watch the game at the Dick, made it out.
That was pretty cool. It was cool that Fisher held him out, kept him out there until his friends could get there and watch him play a little bit. He's like, "All right, man, you got your shiny moment. Well, you can get out now. You're all good to go."
Yeah, slipped out right there before the end of the game, but enough to call it a full match. The game before he only played 45 minutes, which was kind of expected, right? But nice to see him. Nice to see him back in form. Don't really have to worry about the hamstring anymore. I would say that's out of mind now and gone.
Yeah, for sure. You still want to keep an eye on it just because it's always scary, but I think for the most part, you're confident that he'll be good to go almost every week from now on.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, not much to say. Efficient as always, classic captain, right? I mean, pretty much cut and dry there. Other notes came up. Mark Anthony Kaye, not really a surprise, but he will be joining Team Canada over the break. He's been, I think, a mixed results on the national team level. Overall, I would call it a successful run over the last year or so with him and Team Canada. Obviously, the team is doing very well.
Oh, yeah, of course.
I mean, is there anything you want to see? I mean, do you even want to see him playing over the break right now? I would almost rather. I mean, they're locked into a World Cup spot. I'd rather see him just ride the bench, hang out the guys, and take it easy.
See, I'm a little bit on the opposite side. I'd just like to see him play like maybe 20 minutes, maybe 45, just like come in like the later end, just so he can keep his form going because he's in really good form. And once you lose your form, it takes a while to come back, kind of readjust yourself. So I'd like to see him play just a little bit, so he doesn't feel that touch for the ball. Like that's my only thing.
Do you think the guys are just going to send him pictures from Mexico and from wherever, the Bahamas, and like
that's one thing that would piss me off the most about being called a national like like, oh yeah, such great pride. You already qualified, and
Yeah,
you see
dude.
your teammates out there like chilling. They're
Golf.
out here like in
Yeah.
the Bahamas, you're here in
Vegas.
Cancun. They're just over here having a great time. And then you see you're still here training 5 days a week, having
Oh
to
my
travel
God.
everywhere.
That's funny, getting yelled at by your coaches.
Oh man, but I mean, you might get to meet Drake again. Like I think he
That's
met
pretty sick.
Drake the last time he showed up for that with
That's
Alfonso
sick.
Davies.
That's sick.
So you
That's
might
really
get to
sick.
meet Drake. So it's like I don't think you will, but there's always a chance you'll get to meet a famous Canadian. Maybe Justin Bieber.
Steve Nash, maybe, dude.
Steve Nash is a huge soccer guy.
Huge soccer guy. Big time.
I wouldn't doubt seeing Steve Nash out there.
That's so sick, dude. That is so sick. Word. Well, yeah, shout out to Mac. I mean, we'll see what happens. The games are meaningless, really, except for just kind of keeping the team in form.
Nations
hopefully.
League.
Yeah, I mean,
dude, I think these teams have pride with each other. Like,
no, I think so too.
CONCACAF teams, like, they're the hatred that's been brewing between Mexico and Canada, the hatred that's there with Mexico and the U.S., the hatred that's brewing between Canada and the U.S. It's becoming like, very competitive. Like, maybe not where they go all the way out, but I think these guys like wake up for these games at this point. And are like, oh wow, like I kind of want to beat them today.
This is just the start of Nations League, right? I mean, the finals are next year, right? So
I think so. I think that's how that works. But again, like, you want to show out. Like I think that competitive nature does make some of these guys wake up and be like, yeah, I just want to show that I can get more points than Canada, more points than the U.S., more points than Mexico.
Yeah, and honestly, it's pretty crazy. I think both the U.S. and Mexico are probably like, what the hell? Canada's ahead of us. Not Costa Rica, not Panama, not Honduras. It's freaking Canada.
How close is Mexico ready to start a national hockey team just to compete with Canada? Just to go out there and be like, oh yeah, you want to take our sport? We'll take your favorite sport and see how you like it.
Oh my God, that would be awesome. Dude, I'm totally down. They would probably have the coolest hockey sweaters of all time.
I am pretty biased to the colors of Mexico, but I love when they incorporate their black in the uniforms. They look so sick.
Especially with like the Mayan calendar ones.
Oh yeah, for sure.
That would make a sick hockey sweater. All right, moving on. Next news item. We getting sidetracked. So that's the best podcasting. Really quick, I just want to touch again on Markinich's debut. I thought it was great. And I just think having several days to look back at the game and kind of, read quotes from his teammates and from him afterwards and just kind of how he played. And it is one of the few, not few, but I mean, it's definitely one of the nice surprises of the season so far.
Oh, for sure, man. Like you see, for a rookie, that's really impressive, man. Going out there, being able to like be one of the best players out there on one of your first chances, like that's really impressive.
Oh yeah, and I mean he was constantly in scoring position, was making nice runs on the backside of plays. When the ball was coming up the right, he was beating that last guy on the left, catching those long balls either on the edge of the box or right in the box, putting a head on it. They weren't the most effective touches, weren't the most effective headers, but I think having the awareness, especially against a talented team like Seattle, to get yourself into the right position is almost bigger than getting the right touch on it, because that could have been nerves. That could, that just comes with experience. But awareness and stuff, I think, is more of an instinct. It's not necessarily a learned thing, right? So being able to get yourself into those attacking positions and read the play well and kind of beat that last guy was super encouraging.
Oh, for sure, man. But like you just got, you kind of start to wonder, like, what do you expect from him going forward now? Like, is he gonna like walk into that Keegan Rosenberry spot in a couple of years and be like the next Mr. Reliable? Is he gonna push for Frazier maybe not to resign Estevez and keep him here full time and just let him back down on loan? Like, I know we're getting ahead of ourselves. I know that's
oh yeah, that's the best part about player projection, baby.
Exactly. Like, but again, it does start to like let you dream a little bit. You see one good debut and you're like, wow, this could lead to some really good things in the future.
Yeah, and I mean, you look at the guys kind of in that age group on the team, right? You have your Vazquez, your Max, Markinick, Yappy. You have these younger guys Lucas himself. I mean, Lucas, right? If they could play on opposite sides of each other, you're like, I mean, you almost have the bones structure already for a team like an MLS level team in like 5 years from now, right?
Yeah,
Considering you'll have turnover and you'll lose your best guys to overseas, and you know what I mean? Like you'll kind of turn that roster over, and then all of a sudden you have an outside back next to Lucas that you can plan long term for, and not just short and medium term. Like that's a guy you can build around.
Like if you look down the Rapids Academy, you can see there's a lot of talent down the list. Starting at the forward spot, you always mention it's Yappy. You look at the winger spot, and you have Yahya Torre out in the wing. And then you look at the defense. A lot of people think that the Rapids are down on Sebastian Anderson, but what we've heard is that they still like him a lot. They still think Sebastian Anderson is young. He's going to develop to what they're looking for. And then you have Markinich come up, and then you're looking at the midfield with Mayaka, and you have all these talented players. Oh, and then you still have Mohamed Omar. Like you have all these talented players coming up in a couple of years. That's going to be a great addition to the Rapids, which is going to be reminiscent of maybe like last year, the year before, like 2019, when Cole Bassett and Sammy Vines broke into the first team and pushed the team to be greater because you had young kids coming in and pushing everybody.
Yeah, honestly, man, it is. It's a nice to see, and you mentioned a lot of the guys there who those are all the names that we expected to see early, right? Those were the guys that you're like, oh man, Mayaka's probably going to break in this summer, or like, Yappy who's played a lot with two but hasn't gotten a ton of time up with the first team. Those are the names that jump up, and then all of a sudden, Marketing comes in and has a great MLS start and has a decent Open Cup game, and I thought it was really nice to see. I thought it was one of those things where it's like a good surprise. Generally in sports, surprises are mostly bad. It's an injury, it's a trade, it's a whatever it is. It's Tim Connolly going to the freaking Timberwolves. Sorry, it's still a little bitter.
Minnesota has our numbers right now, man.
Yeah,
Minnesota right now for sure has our number in soccer.
We are down
basketball,
so bad.
except for hockey. Hockey is the only one where probably nobody has our number.
Yeah, suck it, Wild. All right, well, I think that's that. And then the other thing we talked about pregame or pre-show we talked about was the recycled jerseys coming out.
Yeah, so I've seen a lot of like mixed opinions on this.
I wish we had D-Line's opinion on them.
Yeah, that's something definitely like we can maybe make a quote graphic for.
So these are the teams there. This is what they're wearing. The Rapids will be wearing. Last year it was like a light blue, dark blue situation at home. This year they're a lot more separated. You have the purple with the repeating striped pattern. I don't even know how you describe that. I probably sound like an idiot. D-Line's banging his head against a wall and I say all this stuff.
It kind of looks like camo, like a small. I think what it's supposed to represent
is like strips of camo, like up and it's like camo across, but like vertical pinstripes almost.
Yeah, I think what this is supposed to represent is like the wave of the oceans.
Yep.
Like keep recycled. Like I think that's the main thing.
Yeah, so you get the purple with the light purple camo kind of pattern, and then it's like red, orange, reddish, orangish.
Yeah, I think it's more like an orange color. Yeah, like a very burnt red kind of.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that looks great, especially, man, see, like you look through these and they're, every team is going to wear the same this weekend, right? And every team's going to be wearing the same. And I like that the Rapids don't have a kit sponsor. And I know everyone wants a kit sponsor because the money and, everything involved that way. But I think it looks sharp. I like it. I honestly like the road jerseys better, though. I don't know. Are those in there? Or?
No, I can.
Yeah. So basically it's white, same pattern with like a peach. And I think that looks great. I think it's sharp. I love these one-off gimmick kit games. I think it's really cool to see. Obviously, pro-environment, pro-recycling. I love the MLS's whole green initiatives they do among industry leaders there. So pretty cool to see.
Very strong stance, Mitch, for recycling.
Yeah, I am for recycling. What are you going to do? I'm not afraid to say it. I'll say it right now. I like recycling. I think it's good.
I'm not afraid to be a real person and say I love recycling.
Hot take: recycling is good.
So these are the other kids that that we're doing. Let me see if I can make it bigger. It will not let me make it any bigger.
That's okay. No, yeah. So it's light with the same kind of orangey. I think it looks really good. Just the one off this weekend at home. You'll see the Rapids in a new kit. So they'll have worn all 3 kits at home, right? Because the green weekend, right? Green week, they wore the green at home. That was Giassi Zardis's first. Right?
Oh yeah. You're right.
And so now they'll have worn.
I forgot about that.
3 different home. Yeah, dude, that's sharp, man. I think that's really sharp. Good on the MLS. It's really easy to mess up these, everybody wear these jerseys for a week. Sometimes I feel like there's a designer who was like, oh shit, I didn't. Oh yeah, here's my design for that. But this one looks like it was intentional and good. So
this one, the biggest issue I have with this whole Adidas recycle thing collab that the MLS is doing is it looks like it's just like a lot of empty calories because there's like nothing going towards the environment. There's no real like, oh yeah, we'll donate this much at this weekend. There's no real movement to it. It's just kind of, we have cool jerseys, please recycle. Like it just looks very empty to me.
Okay, I can see that. That's fair. I think that's fair. But here's my thing with that, and this could be its whole own podcast, let alone an episode. But it takes initiatives like this where it is just a jersey, but it has recycle with it, and it's commentators saying recycled jerseys, and it's in print, and it's on the Jumbotron, and it's like, you just start to reinforce involvement with environmental actions and policies and stuff like that, and it just kind of embeds itself. Like, yes, alone the jerseys don't do much, but it's just like reinforcement and positive reinforcement.
I can see that, yeah. I don't have much. When you put it that way, I can see the benefit a little bit better. But part of me is still like, this seems like just a huge, just kind of scratch my back, I'll scratch your back.
Yes. Well, I mean, that is mostly what it is too. Yeah. I'm just trying to be
positive.
I just love recycling so much. I'm passionate, dude.
Yeah, very strong stance. Recycle 2022. Save the earth, please.
All right.
Controversial take.
Okay. We're done with controversial takes until the next segment coming up. Right here, we're going to dig into the West. So, I mean, look, the Rapids have, I think, where they stand right now in the MLS Power Rankings, total is 11th. That's 7th out of Western Conference teams. So the West is the better conference right now. I think it's very, very, very top heavy. And even at the bottom, you have Seattle in there. SKC can turn it on sometimes, it seems like, when they really want to. Colorado is 7th of that top 11, 7th of the Western teams. Real Salt Lake is 9th. Nashville is 10th. So they are much higher in the power rankings than they are in their actual league standing. So they have they're sitting 9th in the West, 18 points, tied with Minnesota and Houston. Houston is goal differential. Minnesota's head-to-head. So, and they're only 1 point behind Nashville in 6th. So that they are fully in the thick of the more difficult and harder conference. And, you have LAFC surprising Austin at the top. Dallas somehow has gone to the top, in their third. And I feel like the West is going to be difficult, and I don't think those standings you just put up are going to look the same even in 2 months, let alone end of the season.
Yeah, I'm going to put you on the spot right now.
Okay.
Where do you think LAFC lands if you see them right here?
First.
All right, Austin?
3rd or 4th. At least one home playoff game.
All right, let's look at Dallas. Where do you think they are?
I think they make the playoffs, but I think they have a road playoff game.
Okay, so Dallas is going to be like, what, 3rd or 5th?
I'd say around, 5th, 6th, somewhere in there.
What about fake Salt Lake?
They probably have a playoff game.
Okay, Galaxy.
I think they slide up. I think Galaxy finishes with a home playoff game.
All right, Nashville and Dynamo. Where do you see those two?
See, that's where it gets tough because those teams I think are good, but like Minnesota, Nashville, Houston, Timbers, Rapids, Sounders, right? So it's basically 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 teams for 2 spots because I don't see San Jose, Kansas City, or Vancouver making it, right? Like I don't.
Yeah, for sure.
I think I think you could tell me any of these other teams are going to make it, and I would believe you, right? Man, Nashville's been playing so well, and they've played so many road games. You said it before the pod, but they've played 9 of 13 on the road already, especially with the late debut of their stadium. So now they're going to be playing a bunch of games at home. They're in decent position in the conference. Man, if I had to put money on it, I would say Houston does not make the playoffs.
See, the way I look at this, kind of like what we're looking at the graphic, 4 through 10 are playoff contenders, and 4 through 7 are the spots that you're looking at to move around.
Right.
I think those are the spots that you're going to be like fighting for. If I have to put, I think it's LAFC. I think it's the Galaxy in 2. I know they've played pretty bad lately, but they always get a lot of help. And then after that, I think it's just a complete crapshoot. I really do think it's an absolute crapshoot, and I just can't tell you who's going to be in 3rd place. Sounders are going to try to make a push for the playoffs because they're fully focused on the MLS now. So if I look at it this way, I think it's going to have to be like, I can see maybe LFC, Galaxy, Austin, Real Salt Lake at 4, Rapids, Minnesota, FC Dallas.
Rapids, Minnesota, Dallas. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I think that's... So you're saying Nashville and Dynamo both fall out?
Yeah, that might be like a super homer take, but that's kind of what I'm looking at.
I like that. I mean, so you mean so congested. Dallas there is at 22 points. Right,
yeah,
so
it should be 22 points.
So 3rd place has 22, and 9th place has 18, and that's the Rapids on goal differential. So I mean, it is completely up for grabs. And you're right, but I mean, you look at form, right? Galaxy hasn't been great, but I think that's a team that can turn it on, so they stick around. Actually, can you pull up that question again? Let's jump into that because I do think it really matters. I think it's the X factor to where this finishes.
Want to get in that in the second segment, or do you want to get to it now?
No, you're right. Yeah. We'll talk about that. But I do think Zardes in general. This question from Cody about Zardes. I mean, Zardes is a big X factor when you have Rubio putting up half a goal a game, and you have Zardes who did that in his Columbus tenure. That's like, it's really hard to deny that if they can both work that level. I can't say, and if the Rapids are so good at home, and we talked about it with Joseph, and we talked about it a little bit, you and me, in the last pod. They can, yes, I don't think they're going to magically become a good road team, but the Rapids are going to pick up points on the road.
Yeah, for sure.
There's no way they go a season without points on the road. They're going to find a groove. They'll get a tie here, a win there, a tie here, right? And they're not going to. I don't think they'll go the whole season without losing a home. Although last year they only lost the home opener and then drew or won the rest of the season. And I think it's going to be something like that this year. 1, maybe 2, maybe. So there's going to be plenty of points for them, and it's so congested. There's not a huge gap in goal differential until you get to Austin at 2nd. Pretty much everyone is in line there, goal differential wise. So I mean, I think the Rapids are as good as position as you can ask for, except for the fact that they're in 9th right now.
Yeah, and like and how you're saying, like it's all super congested, and the Rapids have been dominant at home. The biggest issue, if we look ahead to the next 5 games, is they won't be playing at home. They're gonna be playing away more than home.
They don't play at home until the 4th of July.
Exactly. But to be fair, they have like a 2 to 3 week.
They have a 2-week break.
Exactly.
And then it's one coast in New York, one coast in Portland, home for Austin, at Real Salt Lake. So Portland is 3 points behind them. Nashville is 1 point ahead of them. Austin is obviously 2nd. Real Salt Lake is 4 points ahead of them.
These are good teams they're facing, man. Even the Timbers, they feel like they're out. Like they're about to go through a gauntlet. you look at, you have, how you said, you have Nashville, and Nashville's really good. Nashville is right there in that mix, trying to get that playoff spot. NYFC has been dominating. They've been
they're
really good at home
MLS's
too.
number one team in their power rankings.
Exactly. They've been amazing at home, especially with that really weird field out there, like that super strange field at the New York Stadium. Then you have the Timbers. The Timbers away at home are also very hard.
Well, yeah, and anybody on the road is hard for the Rapids right now. I mean, look, we were talking about how perfect an opportunity it was to walk into Kansas City, a team that just lost 7-2, that was completely injured and playing terribly, and they couldn't hang.
Looking back at it, I think we overhyped it because SKC was also looking to bounce back. So,
yeah,
they were fighting harder. The Rapids were there for the taking to do the final blow. But I think we need to give a little credit to SKC too.
No, sure, but I mean, and we talked about this. You're kind of running out of teams to play on the road that you want to play on the road, right? Like, you don't want to go to NYCFC when you're battling for a playoff spot. You don't want to go to Portland. You do not want to go to Rio Tinto at all, ever, under any circumstances. Tinto. I always say Tonto.
Yeah, you also say Tonto. That's one thing that
I always say it.
I see why, because it's very
Lone Ranger.
Yeah.
Well, and the Lone Ranger.
Yeah, of course. So that's I'm like, okay, every time you say Rio Tonto, I'm like,
I say it every time. It's Tinto.
Yeah, it's Tinto. It's the tinted river.
Tinted river. No, yeah, it's in my head. I don't know. I'll never not say it. I sound like an idiot.
Not say Rio Tonto.
I'm a professional.
We're gonna put mask on. We're gonna paint the river the same color as Tonto.
We're all gonna show up in burgundy little masks. Lone Ranger style.
New shirt. Ooh. Just a Tonto in burgundy colors.
Oh.
Tonto and burgundy.
D-line. I know you're not listening, but make the shirt happen.
Disney, please do not listen or sue us.
Look, man, I mean, the West is interesting, and then you look ahead to this weekend too. Not to totally throw it away, but you get some interesting, LAFC has San Jose. Okay, at home. All right, probably not going to do much of the standings there. Dallas is in Orlando, so you hope Orlando can kind of work some magic, right?
Orlando has been pretty decent. Like they don't show it on the standings, but you see them play, and they've been a fun team to watch play.
Yeah, and it's always a tough stadium to go to, whether or not they've been getting results. It's a tough game.
The humidity there, it's insane, man.
Yeah,
the amount of times I see players grabbing their shirt and airing it out because that thing is sticking to their chest, to their stomach. It's insane.
Yeah, Portland in Miami this weekend, so Miami is probably the worst
winning
team.
By 50.
Yeah, Miami's probably the worst team in MLS right now.
Wooden spoon. Wooden spoon.
So Minnesota has NYCFC at home, so hopefully NYFC continues their form and finishes out before the break with a big road win. And then the game that you're going to want to look for, and it's going to finish about half an hour after the Rapids game. So if you're at home watching, or you don't have to drive home from the stadium, you can pull it up on your phone. It'll finish about half an hour later, is Houston in Salt Lake. And I think that is the one that everyone's going to want to look for, because you don't really want a result for either side.
You don't want a positive result for either one.
No, a 1 point for both of them is fine. Yeah, 1 point for both of them is fine. 1 point for both of them, assuming that the Rapids do what they do and win at home, right? That will put them ahead of Nashville and ahead of Houston. And if Minnesota loses to NYCFC, which I think is a fair ask, right? That would put the Rapids into 6th place and just 2 points behind Real Salt Lake. So.
Exactly, and that's what we were talking about. It's also congested, and this is where the Rapids need to take advantage. Going into the break, get fully healthy, get fully rested, and try to move up the standings real quick.
Oh yeah,
especially with a whole lot of hard teams in the schedule coming up in the next 5-6 match days.
June and July is brutal. Absolutely brutal. But before we do that, we have to finish out this before the break with Nashville. So we're going to jump into that right here. But first, we do want to talk about the homies over at Avaca TV. Look, you want to watch the Rapids, right? Pretty hard to do in Denver. I think half of Denver pays for cable, doesn't have the chance to even watch their favorite team. You know why? Because they don't have Avaca TV. You can sign up for Avaca TV. Totally new approach to TV programming delivery. It's less expensive. It's easy to watch. Offers a superior picture. Services include Altitude Sports. It includes AT&T Sportsnet, national channels. And you know what else it includes? DNVR. You can watch us. You can watch the Avs show. You can watch bets. You can watch DNVR. You can watch DNVR on Avaca TV. If that's not enough right there, I mean, geez. I mean, honestly, I don't even have to read the rest of the ad almost, but I will, because you can watch all of this. Rapids, Mammoth, Pioneers, Rams. You get all of that coverage, all for just $15 per month when you go to avaca.tv/DNVR. It gives you $10 off your first 3 months. That's $15 per month for the first 3 months plus receiver. There's no contracts. There's no hidden fees. And you get to watch the Rapids. You have it, right?
I do have Avaca TV, and I love it.
There you go. That's all you need.
You get to record all the games, which I do, and then go watch again. Because
there you go.
To suffer.
Yeah, because I DVR all the games, and I sit there and watch the miserable ones again for some reason.
It's not very fun, but it is very fun.
Yeah, of course. But look, Avaca's great. They are the true homies. We've had some good times with Avaca, and we hope that you guys can use it too and can watch the Rapids at home without any sketchy streams.
And if you already have Avaca, saying hi from your TV right now, because you're probably watching us on Avaca TV.
Hi, Mom. I'm on TV. My mom isn't watching.
None of my family's watching. They understand English for the most part, so they understand. They love me and they like seeing my face, and that's why they watch.
Yeah, totally. Look at this. Look at these mugs. We were made for TV, baby. Look at these.
Made it onto the big screen. Let's go.
Look at us. The mullet for sure is made for TV, baby.
I don't even know if you can see the mullet. You can see the stash for sure.
Oh,
let me see.
Oh yeah, there it is. Oh, and your dog. What's up? All right, let's dig into
my doggo. He came on screen.
He wants to be on the show.
Hi, Nico.
Nico. Let's go.
All right, bye, Nico.
All right, let's dig into this weekend. Nashville visiting the Colorado Rapids on Saturday, 7:00 at the Dick, the Fortress. Get the Rapids don't lose at home tonight. Rapids haven't lost at home since the home opener against Austin FC last season in a regular season MLS game. That is.
Oh, here, let me bring down my echo a little bit. All right, did that fix it? I messed up at big time.
Oh no, yeah,
all right.
Yeah.
Is it better? There we go.
Oh no, yeah.
I tried to go fancy with my effects, and that's what it got me.
But yeah, look, I mean, this is a big time. I think this is. Look, the Sounders win, big. The LAFC win, big. Portland rivalry match, big. This is one of those games where it's like this is the first time they've ever played Nashville, right? Nashville was in the East last year. They didn't meet in the MLS's back tournament. It's like this is a unknown team, unknown entity coming in, and you need to put your streak on the line. It's kind of a put your nuts on the table game.
Yeah.
Do you think that's fair?
It's very fair, and it's also the Rapids meeting Gary Smith, the coach that took them to the promised land back in 2010. So I don't think there's not a single player left. Maybe Drew Moore is the last one left from that team.
Yo, shout out.
And he's not really played.
No, and he probably won't. Something went wrong if he plays this weekend.
Yeah, at this point he's a player coach, and I love that for him. I think it's perfect. But yeah, like how you're talking about, it's time to like show them what you're made of. It's time to show
Mhm.
kind of like, hey, you know what? Keep the streak going. Nashville is not a perfect team, but they're a
Mm-mm.
very good team.
They're a really good defense, but the interesting part about that is they are really bad at defending set pieces. And last year, over a third of their goals conceded were on set pieces. Oh, what is the Rapids' strength on offense? Oh, what does Jack Price love to do more than any human on planet Earth? Put dimes off of set pieces right on to Lawless's head. If Vazquez plays, he's going to put one. I mean, I think it's going to be a Jack Price assist game this weekend, and that is the thing they can expose when the Rapids have the ball at their feet
Yeah,
by far.
and if you look at their defense, they're also not perfect. They have 3 clean sheets
Mm-hmm.
in this year. That's best for 15. They concede a goal per game, which is pretty good. Like a goal per
Yeah,
game, you can win, especially if you have Hani Mukhtar and Sapong scoring. They conceded 2 penalties, which is tied for 9th, which is kind of a lot, especially how the Rapids have been going. They've been getting some favorable calls their way.
ooh, another penalty game.
It might be, and they have a 19 clearances per match. That's not a lot, and they only have 7 successful tackles per game. That's
That's it.
something that the attack.
Doesn't
That's
seem
something the
right.
attack has to take advantage of.
I think it's the wings. Yeah, it's Lewis. It's Barrios if he's in there. It's
Mac.
Mac. Yeah, and it's those guys making dangerous runs off of Keegan, off of Lawless, off of Price from the back, pushing the ball up and finding those receive turn run, right, and get onto the wing. You know, if you can have the ball at your feet for 20, yeah, that's a lot. 10 to 15 steps, right? Like 10 to 15 full strides and create contact and force a defender to get to you. And put yourself in position to where Price can do what he does best, and that's put those set pieces into dangerous positions.
Yeah, for sure. And that, like the most interesting stat to me is that they only have 3 clean sheets, while Colorado has 6. That
Yeah.
bodes really well for Colorado, especially all
Oh yeah.
Colorado needs is 1 goal and that defense to be on point, and they're gonna win this game.
I would
And
like
that's how
them
they
to
win at
score
home.
more than one goal. But
Yeah, we're wishing
yes,
for
you
one.
are correct.
But all they need
Yes.
is 1, literally, because their defense and their goalkeeper is really good.
Yeah, I
Especially,
mean, look, Yarbrough is great. That back line is rock solid. Mukhtar and Sapong that's a dangerous 1-2 up top.
not more dangerous than Vela and Arango,
Sure,
and they shut them down completely.
you're not wrong. I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying that,
You're
like,
telling me I'm wrong, Mitch, and I'm about to fight you through the street.
let's go.
Catch
Catch me. DNVR bar,
me if
you
you
and me,
can.
baby. Yeah, late night.
DNVR brawl.
Yeah.
That's gonna be the new Twitter handle. DNVR brawl.
Bare knuckle boxing after the bar closes at 2:05 a.m.
More like 12:30 if we're lucky.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah. No, look, obviously the Rapids have the advantage. They're at home. They are a completely different team at home than on the road. It's really tough to say they're not the favorite team this weekend. It's tough to say. It's tough to even predict a draw, right? Like, even if you're trying to be nice to Nashville and trying to be, like the realistic, not always be the homer and pick a win, I don't see how you don't predict a win. You have 2 weeks off, right? So, and I think this is where, you talk about injuries, right? I think Price has shown that he can play 70 plus minutes, right? He's back. He's fine. Wilson is back. He's fine. I don't think you risk Giassi's artist. I really don't.
Well, yeah. Let's get into this comment that Cody is that you must.
Yeah. So do you think we might see Zardes sub in this weekend, similar to what Price did with his hamstring? I don't want to. Give him a month off. We have 2 weeks off. Give him a month off. Have him start with Rubio in New York when they come back. That's what I think.
I think you should actually. I think I wouldn't like to see him start. I'd like to see him the last 10, 15 minutes if the Rapids need him.
I think if it's a draw, you could talk me into wanting that, right? Like if it's 1-1, 0-0, 2-2, whatever in the 80th and you still have a sub window, sure.
That's the only time I would bring him in, honestly.
I just don't see the point.
Scenario.
You have to think long term, right? Like you have to think long term. You brought him in to put goals, and I think to be more of a steadying force, not relying on young guys on the road. And you have a lot of road games coming up against good teams. You want him in perfect condition going into that stretch of it's at New York, at Portland, home to Austin, at Salt Lake.
Yeah,
that exactly. Is a difficult 4 weeks.
And I completely agree. I said only scenario I would like to see him in if it's a 1-1 0-0 draw and you really want that win. You kind of saw the results around the MLS and you want to push into that playoff spot before the break. I think that's the one time you bring in Zardes and just see if there's something you can create. I don't expect him to score in those 10, 15 minutes or whatever, but I think it would just be helpful and give a little bit of like confidence to the fan base more than anything that, hey, we're trying to go for this. We're trying to win. This is not just another year for us.
Yeah, no, I definitely think that's right. Man, the thing I'm thinking of now that we're talking injuries is what do you want to do with Mac after coming off and taking the hit to the head last week?
I think Mac is fine. I think it was more his like vision was like not as
his eye was like
yeah. I don't
like
think it was like
up.
anything major like concussion wise or something that's gonna. If the swelling is down and he can see, I think there's no reason for him not to play. I think
True.
that was the biggest issue with him not playing anymore, that he couldn't see out of that eye,
Yeah,
and it was mostly due to the swelling.
Yeah,
and especially because I think Mac is gonna be a very very big role in this game because the midfield for Nashville has not been good. Only 331 accurate passes per match. They only average 46% possession. And in the final third, they only won possession 4 times.
Yeah, I mean, look, the numbers all say Rapids, right?
Exactly.
Logic says Rapids. Watching them play at home at any point this year says Rapids. And then there's the Rapids. They do this thing where when it's very obvious, they like to mess with you.
I think that's very accurate when it's on the road. I think at home it's like
no, they haven't let us down at home. They have not
exactly
at all,
and it's at home, so I think we should be confident for the Rapids this week.
Yeah,
I think it's something that we do have to consider in this game. First ever match between these two teams.
Yeah, and I think that matters,
one.
Especially because they didn't beat Charlotte. Man, they drew with Charlotte.
That was a very strange game.
That was weird, and you don't want to do that again.
Yeah, for sure. I think I really do think the Rapids want this playoff spot. They're begging for this playoff spot.
And this is a chance to kind of like, okay, international break. We are in a playoff spot, not the last playoff spot. We can jump to 6th, right? Like we can jump.
Yeah, I think it's time. I think they know it's time they can turn it around. I think they want to turn it around, and I think they realize that if they're gonna do it, it's gonna have to be here pretty quick. And they see the matches coming up. They see where they're playing. NYFC. They're gonna go to Rio Tinto. They're gonna go to the Portland, and it's gonna be hard for them to get results every single time. If in the next 5 games, it's possible 15 points. I'm happy with 9 points. That means win 3 matches, win 2 at home and 1 away.
Well, we only have 2, right? And one of those is against Austin. You know, arguably one of the best 5 teams in the MLS this season.
Exactly, but they're at home, so like that should give you an advantage. You could win 2 home games, tie all 3 games.
God, going to New York, going to Portland, House of Horrors in Salt Lake City. Ooh, yeah. I mean, this game's huge, right? And here's the thing, right? You leave it all, right? Like you expect you have 2 weeks off, right? You can throw your best lineup out. You can also play it where you have, say, a guy like Keegan or a guy like Lawless. They've basically played the whole season. Tons of minutes, heavy minutes. Lawless was dealing with that hamstring, so, you know, there was a stretch where he played only like 45, 60 minutes a game. But, I mean, is it a match where you see a guy like maybe it's Lucas and Beta? Maybe it's, you know, maybe Vazquez goes in for Lawless to start or something like that and let some guys not just get
one more time.
Yeah, dude, Markanic would be nice to see him, man. Markanic. I don't know. I would prefer the all-out. Give me the starters. Give me Rubio, Zardes, Max. No, not Max. Sorry, Mac. Right. Acosta, Price, Lucas, Keegan, Wilson, Lawless, and Trusty. Give me the no doubt starters. Put 2 goals up, then start subbing guys out. Right? Like then if you need to rest some guys, pull them. I guess we just said Zardes is I would prefer you wouldn't. So replace, put Lewis there instead or whatever, right? Like Barrios has been good, Lewis has been good, doesn't matter. But give me that best version, go all out. Guarantee yourself those 3 points. Guarantee yourself to put up into playoff contention, barring, a big win for Minnesota over New York, right? Like you can put yourself there with a win and set yourself up for success in the second half of the season coming up.
For sure, man. I think we're both on the same page where we don't need them to win, but you want to see the win to get into that playoff spot, start pushing, and get ready for what's coming.
Yeah. Do you have a prediction?
I'm going to go 2-0. I just think they're going to be a lot better, and I just really do think 2-0 is the way to go.
Okay. 2-0. Who's your goal scorer?
I'm going to go Rubio. You can't go wrong with Rubio. And I think Barrios breaks the curse. I think Barrios gets
give me a Barrios goal, baby. I think Price gets that either a corner or, one of those Lewis on the wing fouls from someone trying to catch him from behind. He'll get a set piece in a nice position. And who's going to score it? Who's going to put the header in? I say Lawless gets another one. Yeah. Lawless gets one, and Rubio gets one. There you go. 2-0 win Elm, as usual.
Julio's talking about what happened to Max.
This is a good question. Shout out Julio, by the way, my guy. Look, Max is young. This is a new city, new country, new continent, new hemisphere. He has an interpreter with him at the facility, like he doesn't speak the language. He's a kid. This is a very different playing style across the league, right? MLS versus the Brazilian league is night and day. And I just think it's going to take some time. I think there's culture shock. I think there's moving. I think there's a lot of that in there. The skill speaks for itself. He has it. Do I think he's going to be an impact player this year? I think he might have an impact game. I think there might be like the Max game where, he scores one off the bench or adds an
important goal or something.
Like an assist or a goal, or, like two, whether it's an assist and a goal, or a goal and a goal, whatever it is. Like he might have a game. He might have a stretch where it's 2 games where he starts and does well or something like that. But no, I don't expect him to be an impact guy this season. And I think that was kind of their play, is like, we can spend the money. This guy's available. We can lock him into our system with our good coaches and our good base, like we have a strong front office, strong trainers, strong everything, and grow him into the player that he can be.
For sure. It's not time to panic on that. He's kind of like, we had a lot of high hopes for him. We thought he was going to be elite. He still could be. Very young guy. He'll grow.
I will take the blame on gassing up Max. That was me. I was driving the Max train hard.
I think it was everybody around these parks really had high hope.
Yeah.
I think everybody really had a lot. Even when we had a first show we did, Jared, you, me, and even Matt were really like hyped on Max. Like we all thought he was going to be a great player, and it didn't go as far as we expected it right away. But I think he'll get there eventually.
Yeah. I think it will be. I think next year is the year of Max. I think when he has a full season and a full off season, and he's comfortable where he lives and knows people, and feels comfortable in all parts of his soccer life, home life, soccer life, all that. I think he'll ease in. Like I said, he's gonna have his moments though. Like it's been rough. Like those games have been rough, but I do think there's going to be a sub here, a sub there, where he does something special, and you're like, oh yeah, okay, I see it, right? Sure. But there's also, it's going to be followed by a game or 2 games or 3 games where you're like, what are you doing?
I think he's gotten better control and better understanding of the team. The more we see him on the first team, I think he'll get there. I said he'll be fine.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
I don't expect it this weekend. I'm going to stop predicting max goals every game like I did at the start.
We were begging to see him more at the beginning.
Begging.
Saw him more, and then we're like, okay, we know why Fraser hasn't put him all the way in yet.
Yeah. Man, you got any other notes? Anything else you want to look out for from Nashville? Anything on the horizon? Any news in the footballing world?
Not much. Just gonna be a heavy packed Saturday for me. Watching Champions and then watching the Rapids.
Dude, Champions, you got the EPL promotional finals. Will be nice to watch. Hope Nottingham Forest. I'm a big Forest guy over here. Hope they come through. Only because they've won Europe before back in the 70s. Like they're like, they were a storied club that just hasn't broken through. And it'd be cool to have a club like that up, right? Like I think that's an interesting place for the team to go play. It just is new in terms of modern Premier League viewers being able to see that. Rashford's hanging out in the US training right now, so hopefully if you want to come to Denver and watch a game with your boy, come check it out. That'd be sick. Yeah, man, I don't know. It should be a fun weekend. It's a big Saturday in the MLS, so a lot of cross-conference games, and obviously that big nightcap of Houston, Salt Lake to look out for as well. So that'll do it for us, guys, over here at DNVR Rapids. Thank you so much for tuning in. Like, subscribe, get your membership to the DNVR. Get in that locker, get your scarf, get your shirt, get all that. Follow Yahir on Twitter. There's his handle right over there. Follow me, Mitch __ Carroll. And above all that, baby, up the pits.